Welcome to another episode of ZAD Facts. Today we are going to discuss Saudi Arabia $1 trillion skyscraper mega project. Please stay with us. Recently, Saudi Arabia presented plans for the most ludicrous and massive mega project ever. Muhammad Bin Salman, the Crown Prince, plans to erect two parallel skyscrapers that will rise 500 meters high and span 170 kilometers across desert and mountainous territory. The Mirror Line project's realization would need the construction of 2001 World Trade Centers next to one another, twice. Building 4,000 buildings at once and in the same location seems absurd considering that only 12 skyscrapers in the world have broken the 500-meter height barrier so far. So why did Saudi Arabia make such a ridiculous announcement? Are they capable of making it happen, or are they merely attempting to attract global attention?
اليوم بصفتي رئيس مجلس إدارة نيوم نقدم لكم ذا لاين، مدينة مليونية بطول 170 كيلو، صفر سيارات، صفر شوارع، وصفر انبعاثات كربونية.
Few nations in the world can boast a transformation strategy as comprehensive as Saudi Arabia. The kingdom unveiled Vision 2030 in 2016, a strategy for economic diversification that aimed to lessen reliance on oil and move the nation's economy toward the tourism, technology, and other industries. Since then, they have made public a grand scheme known as NEOM, which stands for New Future. NEOM, which will be a smart city in the future, is now made up of three enormous mega-projects. The Octagon, a floating industrial complex with 8 sides, is the first phase of the development and would act as a terminal for ships traveling across the Red Sea. The city will also feature a well-known outdoor skiing resort called Trojena in the Arabian Peninsula, where entertainment and activities should be held all year long. All of these plans, nevertheless, do not compare to the Mirror Line, which was initially unveiled in January 2021. It would be an understatement to call this proverbial line insane since further information about it has lately come to light. What exactly is the Mirror Line then? It will span 170 kilometers of arid country and consist of 2 skyscrapers that are 500 meters tall and parallel to one another. A city of 9 million people will be housed within these parallel towers, each of which will have mirrored exteriors with only 200 meters between them. The metropolis will be linear, beginning at the Red Sea's Gulf of Aqaba coast and extending inland across mountainous and arid terrain. Walkways will connect the 2 mirrored faces. The majority of the internal spaces will be vertically constructed and stacked with offices, housing, and public parks. In essence, their idea is to stack a typical city's infrastructure vertically on top of one another. Additionally, their proposal calls for the use of cutting-edge technology and is completely sustainable. Vertical gardening will be built into the 500-meter-high walls to feed the inhabitants. In addition, the building is planned to have a sports arena that rises 305 meters above the ground and a marina for boats. But can it actually be constructed, or when will it be? The Mirror Line has been referred to as a revolution in civilization by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. The Mirror Line, though, appears more like a vast wonderland that could come to life out of a work of literature. By 2030, Saudi Arabia hopes to have portions of it completed and more than 1 million people living there. The Mirror Line, however, just makes too many promises in too little time, despite the fact that humanity has erected some enormous structures in some of the most challenging environments. Currently, Saudi Arabia has a poor track record of constructing remarkable skyscrapers. For instance, the Jeddah Tower, which was intended to top the list of tallest structures in the world, is still under construction and has only grown to around 1/3 of its original proposed height. The 4th tallest skyscraper in the world is located in Saudi Arabia on the other side. The Mirror Line is unlike anything that has ever been created, but it might be contrasted with the ambitious aspirations of the Illinois from more than 60 years ago. It seemed absurd at the time to plan for a building to be a mile tall. Like the Illinois, the Mirror Line might only ever exist on paper, or in this case, in promotional videos and 3D representations. However, this time, everyone is tuned in, and almost 50 million people have already seen one of their trailers. Why then does Saudi Arabia make such an exceptional proposal when the promises are almost certainly unattainable? Saudi Arabia has embarked on a campaign to rebrand its image ever since Muhammad Bin Salman assumed control of the nation's affairs. A part of that rebranding push are initiatives like the Mirror Line, which are sure to gain notice on a global scale. Although the majority of visitors to Saudi Arabia currently come for pilgrimages, the country wants to be known as having much more to offer and is working to diversify its economy. Saudi Arabia aims to change how the world views it by making newsworthy announcements like the Mirror Line. Crown Prince Muhammad Bin Salman, who has compared the project to some of the largest megaprojects in the Middle East and refers to the Mirror Line as My Pyramids, attaches importance to it personally as well. The announcement of an astonishing project in the middle of neom, which is intended to become Saudi Arabia's own architectural icon, will heighten interest. Furthermore, according to the website, neom is a vision of what a new future might look like. Therefore, it might also be considered a research project for cutting-edge urban planning and transportation ideas. The introduction of the Mirror Line has successfully brought Saudi Arabia to the attention of the world, but the majority of reactions haven't been favorable. There are a lot of unsolved questions. The large carbon footprint that something like this will leave behind is not mentioned, despite the fact that they intend to develop a city with a transit system that is entirely sustainable and emits no emissions. Oldfield at the University of New South Wales calculated that constructing the line would produce up to 2 billion tons of CO2, which is more than 4 years' worth of the UK's entire CO2 emissions. When you take into account these massive construction emissions, the idea of building a carbon-neutral metropolis doesn't sound all that compelling. Additionally, critics have not been slow to draw attention to Saudi Arabia's track record on human rights and are already estimating the human cost of Saudi Arabia's ambitions. There are various indigenous groups in the area that have long resided in towns and villages. Around 20,000 people, according to foreignpolicy.com, are compelled to make place for neom. Additionally, Saudi security agents are alleged to have killed at least one protester by shooting him. Additionally, the nation has failed to enact strong labor regulations, which has resulted in widespread mistreatment of migrant workers. To yet, the authorities have not provided a clear plan for resolving the problem. Raising finance for the trillion-dollar megaproject will be difficult because of the country's questionable human rights record. Some of the proposals for neom and the Mirror Line are just too intricate to carry through, even if they do receive the funding. According to the majority of observers, the finished designs will seem considerably different from those that are being promoted on media platforms. According to what we have seen so far, Saudi Arabia lacks the kind of knowledge necessary to make most of its recent boasts a reality. The size of the Mirror Line project is too large to finish within the next few decades, even with assistance from elsewhere. Regarding the Mirror Line, it's also crucial to consider whether people would truly choose to reside there. The Mirror Line is currently viewed as a conceptual idea for many lifestyles. However, in reality, the project is vastly over budget and has a number of issues, including the aforementioned violations of human rights and its viability. For the time being, it remains an unachievable task, and a more practical strategy would be to incorporate some of these futuristic concepts into Saudi Arabia's current cities. What do you think of the Mirror Line, though? Will it always be a science fiction fantasy, or might it ever be built? Leave your comments below. If you enjoyed this video, you can like this video and subscribe too. Thanks for watching.